Hi everyone, welcome to the Finance Story Career Overseas series. I'm Chantal, founder of the Finance Story, a platform that enables you make better career decisions. So over the last couple of years, like post pandemic and during the pandemic, we've seen a large demand for fund accountants, auditors, fund managers. For hedge funds or alternate finance funds. So we've also observed that many of them get quick global mobility. They're able to work in different countries and move overseas. So the question that crossed my mind was like, what do these funds do? Why are fund accountants, auditors, fund managers, investment managers, in great demand? And what scope do we have, as finance professionals who've studied either chartered accountancy or ACCA? What scope do we have in these funds? And what kind of exposure do we get if, we have an expertise in these funds, right? So to understand more about this, and also to discover what do these funds do, we're going to speak to Khush today. So Khush is a chartered accountant who's worked primarily in the big fours. He's been a financial service auditor focused on PE funds, hedge funds, asset management firms, and he's always wanted to work and globally, to access different markets and understand how things function globally. So when he started his journey to finding opportunities overseas, he actually applied for 400 positions, okay, but all in vain. He did not get a single interview call, and he firmly believes that to actually get selected, you at least need an interview call, and he got no interview calls. And that's when he figured his mistake and eventually secured a lot of interviews, and he's worked in UK, and right now he's in Australia. So today we are gonna speak to Kush. Kush, thank you so much for joining in. Thanks a lot for the time.
Thank you, Shontel. Thank you very much. I am sure you're gonna help a lot of people by making this interview and this video.
Thank you so much, Kush. So, Kush, basically, you have to explain to us first of all exactly what is all these funds, why is there so many opportunities in the funds, and before going ahead, tell us your background. How did you start your career? Why did you get in? Why did you start with CA and a Big Four, and how did you land into this whole world of funds, hedge funds, etc., etc. And everyone who's joined in, thank you so much for joining in. Please ask your questions, and we'll be more than happy to take it up. So over to you, Kush.
Sure. Thank you, Shontel, and thank you everyone for having me here and writing those good, kind words about me. I'm not very sure if I'm those words fit in for me, but yeah, traveling and helping people makes me who I am and makes me very happy. So these are two of my mottos that I use in my life: travel as much as I can and help as much as I can. Going back to my journey, starting with my CA days, post my schooling, I wasn't sure that how should I move towards, in my career, in my future. I did some induction like everyone today goes to, speak to their seniors, maybe speak to someone in an industry they are like. Probably that's how I started my chartered accountancy. My articleship was in a mediocre CA firm and a very good CA firm. I'm very proud of being associated with that CA firm. I had a great learning over there. But while giving my final examinations and after clearing my chartered accountancy, I wasn't sure if I want to go in taxation or if I want to go in auditing, or like I was very blank and white, like where should I move forward to, what should I do, whom should I connect with. That's how I started my journey with Deloitte USI. That's the global practice of Deloitte in India. And I started in investment management industry. Obviously the starting of investment management industry was not a very certain choice that I wanted to have, but yeah, I was there. And then that's how I started observing and learning. In my first few days, in first few months, I was just learning how to work in a big four, how to have that big professional skepticism and everything. But down the line, I started liking the subject. I started understanding the subject. By subject, I mean whatever I was auditing, the companies I was auditing, or maybe the work I was doing, I started liking it. Because I will explain how I started liking it or what it involved. That's how I got an opportunity to become a senior in my role in Deloitte. From there, I moved to KPMG and then KPMG London. Obviously, I'm saying it in a very straight line, but it was not a straight line. It was a lot of ups and downs at that time. And then I'm working with EY in Sydney office as an assistant manager in private equity and wealth and asset management industry. Okay. Going to the very first the very first question you had, what are funds, or what is exactly a fund auditor or fund accounting? In First of all, today getting an overseas opportunity is not difficult. Yes, it is challenging, but it is not difficult, because I learned a phrase from someone who said that today world has opened doors for the world. This means we are at a very height of globalization, if not at a maximum height, at a good height of globalization. Then again, funds. By funds, I there can be a lot of funds: government funds, mutual funds, private equity, hedge funds, and a very long list. To me and to my specific field, I work with private equity funds, hedge funds, fund of funds, and basically all of them, if I have to speak in a very layman language, all of them are, alternative source of finance. In today's modern world, not everyone or not every business is relying entirely on normal source of finance, that is through a banking channel, or maybe getting, money from your parents, or maybe getting money from your friends. That was traditional source of finance and a very well settled. But today, due to needs of the, company, if a company, by company I mean any company, a startup, a venture capital, or any sort of company, if they are in need of finance and they don't have, they don't have a good credit history, or maybe a good credit rating, or sources, like they are not able to secure a loan from a bank, that's where the alternative source of finance gets involved. And like, fund is a very loose term, but again, we use this term as funds. So if I have to speak about private equity firms is a pool of asset. By asset I mean money, which they get from big stakeholders, or maybe mutual funds, or high net worth individuals. They pool the money to make a private equity firm or a private equity fund, and then those private equity funds invest into either a company who's having a, little bit bad track record, but has a good potential, and they can see a good potential in future. If there is a new startup, obviously new startups have this problem a lot, because they cannot make bank understand each and everything, and they cannot check right on every tick box that a bank has to give them a lot of documentation. That's why they are, turning towards the alternative source of finance, and that is how private equity, hedge funds, fund of funds, all of them come into picture. And again, the very basic question, what I remember from our conversation that we had almost a week ago, why there is a huge surge in the demand, in the, like, probably this is the main question, why there is a huge surge in the demand of fund auditors as well as fund accountants. Fund
Yeah.
accountants can be fund controllers and managers as well. So let's keep it to two very basic topic: fund auditors and fund accountants. Today, because this alternative finance is getting a lot of, attention from a lot of companies around the world. If I have a bank in India, maybe in Delhi, the bank is limited only to give loans to people either in Delhi or maybe nearby. But these private equity funds or alternative source of finance people, they can give, loans. Maybe it is not called loans in their language; it is called investment. But in a very layman language, I'm saying loan. That these private equity funds can provide money globally without any boundaries and without any, major checklist they have to give. So this is what private equity fund. And because the demand is growing in terms of the private equity funds, that's why they need to hire a lot of skilled people, lot of knowledgeable people. And that is why you can see, around the globe, in UK, especially in Australia, in Cayman Islands, in Luxembourg, you can see a very very big spike in terms of, demand for fund controllers, fund auditors, and fund accountants.
Okay, so Krish, from what I understand is there's a spike in genuine spike in demand, and as you from what we discussed last time, it's only going to increase, right? Because
Yes.
because businesses are now not only accessing banks, but they're accessing alternate investments, for to expand and grow their business. It's a very normal concept now. It's a very normal concept, so that's why we've suddenly seen a huge demand. It can also be outsourced work for hedge funds, private equity funds, which is coming to India, right? And there are large setups who are doing it. Yeah,
Correct. Absolutely correct, Shontel. Because one private equity fund, they need an admin to make their accounts. That's why they need accountants. They need auditors to audit their accounts because they have to present it to their stakeholders and people who are investing. That's why they need auditors. Then they need normal bank to keep their everyday money and to move their money. Then they also, they also have a dialogue with governments and everything to keep a smooth flow of business. So because of one single fund maybe, or because of one single business, there is a lot of possibilities around it. All the stakeholders are getting chances, and those chances are increasing day by day.
Okay, okay. So, Kush, you entered into this industry by chance, correct? It was not like you strategized it. Am I right?
Um, uh, that's not 100% right. When I was in my school days, I always had a thought about investment market, stock market. I never thought about private finance. I always thought about investment market, stock market, and everything. When I went into Deloitte, I got to know that I'm in investment management. That was by chance, but then again, that my old thinking came in that, oh, I always wanted to work with stock. So, I feel like I always wanted it somewhere back of my mind, and eventually it helped, like maybe the luck helped me to achieve it.
Okay, that's amazing. Kushna, how complex is it being an auditor, of a fund? Like sometimes you're of a private equity fund, hedge fund, and asset management firms, like wealth firms. So how do you navigate every industry? And you also have to understand how are they investing in various businesses. So it's not very simple and straightforward. Like usually when you're auditing a manufacturing company, hey, you know what to expect. But here it seems very diverse. Could you shed some light on that, plus your learnings, plus the challenges, and what exactly goes into it?
Chantel, for funds, I believe no one is a true champion in fund auditing. I'm again using a very loose term. In fund auditing, in private equity and wealth and asset management, no one can be a champion because the amount of investment these fund makes into different businesses can be of n number. They can invest money, give loans, or buy equity of any sort of company, and the company can go from an airline business to a ship business to a cloth manufacturing business to a maybe food market, to any different sort of industry it can invest in. Because of that, there's always a new learning every day. I cannot say that okay, I'm very good in private equity, and there can be a day I will learn, oh, there are different types of things that I've never done in my entire life. If I have to give you a very niche example, um in our private equity or maybe alternative investment world, we have level 3 investments, and it is one of the most difficult things to do the valuation of level 3 investments. Again, this is a very huge topic and we need to have 2 hours or
Yep.
3 hours discussion,
Yep.
but again, explaining it to you in a very layman language. So level 3 valuations can be of very different types. It can be done in traditional ways, it can be done in new ways. But when I was in UK, I thought, when I entered the KPMG office in UK, I thought that, oh, I'm very good in private equity, I will excel in my career. But on the very first month, I got to know that there is a new technique of doing a valuation of level 3, and which I've never done in my life. So that's how learning, Chantal, learning will be every day. There'll be no stopping to your learning. And if at a given point of time you feel that you know everything, there will come an investment, or there will come a market that will be like, oh, I've never done this. I have no idea. So in this kind of industry, or maybe in big four auditing, or maybe a fund accounting, wherever you work, you should always have good contacts, good connections with your seniors, with your partners, and people from the similar industry. So because sometimes you have done this amount of work and they have done that amount of work, that can be inter exchange, and knowledge is always good when it is shared. There is no knowledge, if you keep knowledge privately, it is never good for you.
Wow, so true. Kush, when you said funds of funds, what do you mean by funds of funds?
Again, Chantal, we are going into a very technical word. Fund
Okay.
means A fund means who's directly investing into a business or multiple businesses. A fund of fund means fund is investing into a different fund. and that fund is investing into a business. So our client is a fund who is not investing in a business, who is investing in a different fund.
Okay, okay. I was curious to know what does that mean. Okay. So now, Kush, everyone who has joined us wants to really know, कि यार, how can you discover opportunities overseas? And if you could tell us, first of all, we know your current role has a lot of mobility, okay? But landing an interview is not so easy, and you have really gone through that entire grind of not finding an opportunity, and you were frustrated, but you were lucky to figure it out. So can you take us through your journey, ki why you wanted to work overseas first, and how did you start the process till you actually managed to get an interview and finally move to the UK? That was your first stint. Yeah.
Sure. Why I wanted to move overseas, obviously from the very beginning. By very beginning, I mean probably my school days, and that to very young school days, probably sixth or seventh class. I intended to study outside. I intended to play a sports. Like I always wanted to travel outside as far as I can. I don't want to be a citizen of any other country except India. I'm very happy Indian person, but yeah, travel is a thing that makes me happy. So that's why I always knew that I never knew that I'll be a CA when I was in a sixth class, but yeah, I knew that I'll always go out to different countries to meet new people, to see new culture, and to understand what's beyond the boundaries or the international boundaries. And Chantel, this is obviously auditing or financial auditing is nice to me. I am nice to it. It pays my bills. I respect it. But that is not my life motto or life goal. For me, life goal was always traveling. And after when I joined Deloitte USI, and I've also worked for KPMG KGS, that's also offshore business of KPMG UK. And while doing that, I was always interacting with the partners in either US or UK. By partners, I also mean the seniors who were there to guide us to. At that point of time, I thought I have a professional degree, I have knowledge, I am ready to learn, I am doing a lot of work, but I always have someone onshore explaining, and guiding. And why cannot I be the person who will be on that side of the computer or that side of the laptop? So this gave me, a bit of a spark. Why shouldn't I also try for an opportunity outside? And that's how when I moved to KPMG has a very good hold in UK. So, and it has a very good private equity market and everything. So, I tried for it. Obviously, there is a backstory to it that when I started trying, I made a simple 2 or 3 page CV. The CV was good, not very bad, not very good. It was good, and I applied almost 300 opportunities on entire, big four and top six firms on every possible office in UK. There are like almost 25 office of one big four multiplied with six. So I had applied for all the, and not even for my alternative finance, I applied for a regular auditor and everything, and auditing for other industries as well. So I gave in almost 300 applications. But to my surprise, and I don't know how and why, I almost got, not almost, I got no for every opportunity. I still have that long chain of emails and screenshot with me at my home in India. And it was very frustrating that why not even one email or not even one response said, let's chat on phone and then we will decide if you are good enough for an interview. Not even that. So I was like, this cannot happen. This is like very bad, and this shouldn't happen. So I had no explanation. Obviously, I won't go to the backstory that whom I discussed with, how I got the idea of solving it. But by the time I got a solution, I realized yes, I was very wrong, because CV is a kind of a thing that will give your interview before you giving your interview. CV is a a tool that will give your interview before you give your interview. So because of that, I understood the person whom I engaged with. I asked for solution. They told me the solution, and those solutions were, I was holding one piece, like one single CV, and applying for all the opportunities. I never bothered about the job description. I never bothered about the keywords, and I to be very true, and it makes me feel very bad to say this, but yeah, I never read the JDs as well. I was applying very bluntly. So I got to know then in most of the developed nations like maybe UK, USA, they have a system where if you apply for a job and send your CV, no one will read that CV. That CV will go into a system kind, automated system kind of a thing. And if that job description had 5 or 6 keywords, and if your CV is not matching those 5 or 6 words, your CV will simply go to trash. No person will read your CV. So this is how I learned that you should never make one single CV and save it for all the opportunities. You should have a CV where you can, tweak a little bit according to every JD or maybe every company you're applying. Because every company is not, if two big fours won't copy their JDs, they will make some special keywords of their own. That's how they're expecting a future candidate to come in. This was my biggest fault that I was doing. And when I started to change my CV according to every JD, believe me, within a very short span of time, I landed interviews very quickly, and I wasn't even prepared. I thought that I'll get rejections and everything, and they started calling me. Even some of the HRs called on my cell phone. So I was like, I am getting a call directly from UK. That was, bit of intimidating to me, and I was not ready for it. But yeah, that's how because I haven't seen a lot of people who land an interview and then not clear it. But I have seen a lot of people who don't even land in the interview. That's why they not get a job.
Wow, that's amazing. So, Kush, can you emphasize what changes did you make in your CV? What did you do? What was not working out earlier, and suddenly what started working out?
Cool. In my CV, like I'm a chartered accountant, so in my CV, wherever I write my name, Kush Vijay, I put a second line as a chartered accountant, and that too a very big highlight. But when I realized that in their JD, they have mentioned that they want international equivalent to AC. For example, I'm only speaking about UK in this term. So they have ACCA. So in their JDs, they will always mention they want a candidate who is international equivalent to either ACCA or ACA. So the this is one of the changes that I made in my CV. I again said Kush Vijay, a big bold of chartered accountant, and in brackets I said international equivalent to ACA. So this is an example of one of the keywords that my CV got selected. There can be a big list of keywords, like for example, in internal audit there is SOX compliance, SOX compliance. So normally I've seen people just saying that we have experience in SOC compliance. Maybe the JD is not using short form of SOX, they are using the entire word of SOX, and you have not written the entire full form of SOX, and just you have just written SOX. So your this is a very layman example, but again your CV won't be, there's a high chance that your CV won't get selected.
Wow. So basically, you have to use the keywords which are in the JD, because else
Correct.
the ATS system, as you said, the application tracking system will not even understand it, because there's no human going through it and say, hey, Kush is a chartered accountant, he's good. They are looking out for ACCA or ICAW kind of qualifications, right?
They are looking for a keyword. Again, I'll give you a very good example. For me, if the JD wants a person who has done hedge funds or fund of funds. In my CV, I will only write, I won't write full form. I will write PE, I will write HE, and I will write FOF.
Yep.
That is very good. There is no problem with that. That's, you are showing your knowledge to a person that I know the abbreviations, I know the short forms. But
Yep.
the problem is your CV is not being read by anyone. It is into the system that wants a person with fund of funds, not FOE.
Yep. Okay, okay, this is amazing. And also number of years, like how do you say, for example, the job description says someone with 5 to 6 years or 5 to 10 years. So you had mentioned something on those lines as well.
Yeah, yeah. See, again, JD is the face. JD is the face of the interview. If JD says that they need to have someone with 36 months of an experience, by simply writing that, oh, I have 3+ years of experience, I feel that maybe I can be wrong with this, because this way is never tried and tested. But I feel if JD says 36 months, And if you have 3 years, don't do that. Just write 36 months.
Okay.
Maybe I can be wrong with it. This is my speculation, but this is what I feel. If JD is saying that, just do that. That's the best shot you can have without even speaking to someone.
Follow the JD. That's what you're saying. And be so careful that if they are saying 24 months, you better write 24 months and not 2 years.
Obviously,
Because, okay, something we didn't notice, right? I've never realized this. It goes
again,
ignored.
believe me, this was one of the key parameters that helped me. Again, Chantal, I can be wrong and it can be different for different opportunities, but this is what my learning, my understanding was. Please, follow the JD as closely as you can.
Okay, I don't think you're wrong because I know you have helped a lot of people also find opportunities overseas who are struggling, right? Like at least 20, 25 folks. So you can't be wrong. There is, yeah,
Obviously, Chantal, I can help no one with interviews. Interviews is a private is a company policy. I can
yep,
say nothing in interviews, but I can help with CV.
yep,
And probably those were selected because of that, or maybe landed in an interview. So I can say, yeah, I tried to help and it worked. So
yep.
probably yes.
Yep. As you say, landing the interview is key because however great you are, and if you don't land the interview, what's the point, right?
Correct. Absolutely correct.
Okay. And how many interviews did you land after, tweaking the CVs, like a lot of them? And how
Um,
long did it take?
I landed almost 11. Like by landing, I mean, which I accepted because there were coming a lot of, applications. And then I realized that I have, you know, the opening is specifically not for me. Just for the sake of getting opportunity, I tried tweaking my CV. That worked. But yeah, it is exactly not for me. And again, because after 5 minutes or after 10 minutes, we are going to cover a topic saying, good and pros and cons of living outside your country. So
Yep.
before explaining that, I want to say that yeah, I tweak my CV for other auditing aspects as well, but I never accepted the interview because I knew by anyhow if I'll clear the interview, it won't be good for me and my professional future as well. So
Okay.
I almost did 11 interviews. Yes, I didn't hear feedback for some of them took a very long time. I received offer from 3 or 4 of them, and finally I selected KPMG because KPMG, I'm not promoting KPMG, but KPMG UK, KPMG London office, I feel is the best in UK.
Wow. That's amazing. Kush, didn't you try for an internal movement? Like, because you were already working in KPMG, did you try for an internal movement or telling someone, hey, refer me? Because that usually happens.
I know that happens, but specifically for my case, I don't like asking people to refer me until and unless that person is very close to me, or maybe like this is not my kind of a thing. I know this can be very rude, but no, this is not my kind of thing. Asking someone to refer me until and unless I'm 100% sure of that person.
Okay, that's amazing. And referral also usually it takes time, right? It's not that they just refer because so many others also would want to be a part and go, so it might be
Correct,
biased.
correct,
Okay,
correct. But yeah, it
okay,
was not an internal move. It was a very in like outside. I directly applied for it and then I directly got interviewed.
okay. So from start to finish, how long did you take? From saying, hey, I'm going to apply, and you started applying till you moved to the UK. How long
if
was
i
it?
if I skip the part where I was not landing interviews, that would be good. So probably when I started receiving interview calls till the time I landed in UK, it was almost 6 months.
Okay,
Because Chantel, it is not an organization. Moving outside doesn't mean organization is hiring you. A government is also allowing you to move to their country. So getting the visa process, the paperwork and everything, that takes a lot of time, and you need to be very patient during that time. Because I feel, Chantel, that is not landing an interview, not getting the job is still bearable because you have a job in India. But the moment you get a job offer letter and you try to leave your current job, in the time you get to the country you want to go, is not a very relaxing time. You have multiple thoughts. Oh, maybe the country will refuse my visa. Oh, I will have some problems in my application. What if it takes a longer amount of time and the company says no, that okay, we need someone very quickly. So that is a time you need to be very patient. You need to be very optimistic. Yes, a lot of negative thoughts comes in, because in the end all of us are human and no one is like I'm the best and I don't have negative thoughts. So you need to, understand the time, understand the situation, remember your chartered accountancy days, or maybe remember your other whatever thing that you have done in your life. Maybe if you are in an engineer or a doctor, think about those days when you were, trying to achieve what are you right now. If you are there right now, so maybe if you will keep that patience with you, you will surely be there where you want to be.
Okay, that's a good point you covered. That's a very good. The insecurities do show up.
It will.
Uh,
It will. We are humans. There is no, there can be no to insecurity. You will have, and saying it is a very easy way of saying no. It is not. You will have tons and tons of, negative thoughts, tons and tons of, problems. I don't have money. My parents are thinking like this. If you are married, my wife is thinking. So there can be tons and tons of things with you. You need
okay,
to be
okay.
positive. Yeah. Sorry.
Could that, how I understand, your profile had a lot of scope in the UK, so you considered the UK, right? But it also has a scope in, say, Singapore. It also has a scope in, say, Cayman Islands, and right now it's like, as you said, Australia as well. So, how did you send your CV only to UK, like in the first, like when you were looking out for opportunities overseas initially, like were you clear कि मुझे UK ही जाना है, like, or you also sent to multiple countries? Like, how did you zero down on this? It's so difficult to zero down, right? Because everything is new.
Correct. Chantel, first when I landed a job in KPMG India, I was working with a Bermuda team. Like I was one of the part of offshore of the Bermuda team, and I got an opportunity. I was pipelined into an opportunity to go to Bermuda. That's how I started. Obviously, in school everyone hated homework, but believe me, homework is the best thing you can do for yourself. I did my homework about the place, I did my homework about the location, and I finally got to a conclusion. I am a very, a very talkative person. I am a very engaging person. I like to be with a lot of people. Like to have a lot of people around me, playing team sports, doing something fun activity, creative activity. So the location I'm speaking about is not for me. In long term, I don't picture myself over there. So believe me, people will not like me saying this, that why are you saying something about a location. But you should be very careful. You are leaving your house, you're leaving your parents and your friends, you're going out to a place. You should be 101% sure that place will help you to be safe first. No job, no job, no money will be making you happy if you don't feel safe and secure. So you need to be very sure about your decision. The place I am going to will make me feel secure, and I will be able to, survive with everything. That's how I said no to the location I was going. Then I thought, if I can get an opportunity there, why not try for something of my own. I did my homework again, and I narrowed down it to a single country and to a single location, London. I was not like, oh, I should, like, in starting, I was applying for all the locations in entire UK. But by the time I learned everything, I was like, no, London should be the only place I want to work and I want to go. Two main reasons. First, it is a very lively place for a person like me. And second, it is a very big financial hub. So you will have a great number of clients related to alternative finance industry. I have seen like a lot of people had reached out to me on LinkedIn or maybe in my personal life asking for suggestion. Like they want to go outside to any country that can call them. It's a very bad idea. If you go there, if you don't have done your homework, if you have not, thought about your future in that country, then it's going to be a very challenging moment. And this is, every day has a night. So this is the hardest part of leaving your country and going out. Because Chantel, in your office, how much time would you spend? 8 hours, 9 hours? If you are a workaholic, 10 hours, 12 hours, 13 hours, you will go back to your home, you will sleep, you will have weekends, you will have bank holidays, you will have a lean season period where you're only working for 7 hours or 8 hours and you're not in the office. You will have work from home days. So then what? So you should be, a person going outside should be very confident in terms of his personal life. Professional life is always secondary.
True. That's so profound and so true, which we don't really think about. We just want to, new experience, new country. Let's go wherever you want.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Kush, also like, okay, now from the UK, how was your experience in London? Okay. And how did Australia happen? Why did you decide now on Australia? Like, and you also returned to India. So would you want to take this part as well?
I'll say for me, obviously, yesterday was Independence Day, and I'm a very proud Indian, and I love India. But again, I feel UK as second home to me. So to answer your question, that how was UK for you? It is a very nice place. Obviously, it's very cold. The weather is very cold, and if you don't like cold weather, it will be very difficult thing for you. And obviously, when you go new to a country, you don't get friends, you don't get family. If you don't have a family or extended family over there, you don't get friends, you don't get family, you don't get parents. There's a huge gap of 4 or 5 hours from India to UK, so you have to do everything on WhatsApp call, or whenever you get a time from your office, your parents or family or fiance or spouse, they are sleeping, and when they are awake, you are sleeping. So these were big hindrances for me as well. My first month in UK was not a very good one, and I was very cross that I was earning good money in India. Why did I come to UK? But again, Chantel, in the end, we all are humans, and these thoughts will come. To understand the bigger picture and to know the main why am I here. If you will have the answer of that why before leaving your country, it will always be easy for you. And then UK, in terms of professional life, was one of the best life I've ever had till today. I loved working with KPMG have given me the best professional friends I will ever have in my life. I had my counselor in KPMG, Benjamin Pott. He is one of the nicest person I know in financial, in professional life, in corporate life. But every good thing has an end. Every star falls one day, and every bright day has cloudy days. So by this, I don't mean that I am in a very different or a bad situation right now. By that, I only mean every beginning has an end. I was enjoying my time in UK. It was, I was having the best time of my life. Everything was going very well. The money is very good. Obviously, it's on a higher level of being expensive. But yeah, if you are clever enough to understand your expenses, if you're clever enough to play with the finances, how to manage yourself, and how to manage your professional life, it will fall in place slowly, maybe 6 months down the line, but it will fall in place. But in UK, the things came to an end because I wanted to come back to India for some personal reasons. I came back to India. Coming back to India, like from UK and coming to Australia, there is a gap of 3.5 months. I came back to India for personal commitments, and had to be there in India. That's how I went to my ground zero, Chantel. And when I went to my ground zero, I thought, what now? Like, what should I do now? And that's how Australia came into picture. Then I got to know the Sydney office, or maybe the Sydney is the financial hub of this part of the world. There are some good VC firms. The working culture is very good, and it's all in all a very different one to UK. UK is a very fast moving country. Australia is a very laid back country. People here are very relaxed and chill. But yeah, again, travel was one of the goals. So keeping that, you know, till the time you will keep your goals clear in your head, and you will be true to your goals, true to your heart, everything will fall in place. My goal, I remembered my goal, it was traveling. So that's how, Australia came into the picture. And because of my personal commitments.
Cool. And also, from what I understand, Australia might not be the place where you settle down. You might go to another country, like say another. It depends, right? Like depending on your goals.
Um, Again, I don't have any answer for this question right now. And by that, I don't mean that I'm afraid of giving you an answer. I'm not, but I don't have any answer for that right now. But yeah, the later part of your statement is very true. For me, till the time I'm traveling and till the time I'm able to travel, I will travel.
Okay, okay. And your profile is such that it gives you mobility, right? It gives you the
Correct.
option to be mobile.
Correct.
Okay.
And again, Shontel, if I have an opportunity to do something, why should I leave it?
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. No, so to understand everything, it's been once you figured out about your CV, then getting interviews, okay, has been easy. I would say has been easy, and then most of the times you do end up getting selected because there's a need, there's a genuine need, and you apply for roles where they're looking for where they're looking at sponsoring the visas, right? You're
Correct.
clear when you apply. Okay.
Correct, correct. I've never applied for a PR or whatever the thing is. Like usually people apply for, if I'm not wrong with the word, the PR, and then they
Yeah.
go to the country, leaving everything
Yeah.
behind, and then they get a job. No, 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 no. I'm not that kind of a person. I love to travel. I'm a very fast going person, but no, I'm afraid of just going to a country and then applying a job. No, it's not like it. I don't like
Okay.
doing that.
Okay, the common part in your career is, of course, the financial services, like the auditing, but also Big Fours, right? You've being in Big Four in India opened the world for you in terms of mobility as well. So, what happens to those who are not in working in Big Fours? Like, say, if I'm a banker, okay, how do I leverage such roles and opportunities?
Shontel, you have two very clear dots to your question. The first dot or the first pointer is, if you are not from a big four, and though you are a CA or maybe a finance person, but not from a big four, maybe from top 10 or maybe from a mid CA firm or something like that. To be very clear to you and to our audience, people outside India, can be it, even USA, UK and Australia, all of them are happy hiring people who are also not from big four. They need a professional qualification, yes, because I don't, everyone has set a parameter of having ACCA, CPA, or CA, so there is no to that. But they always don't require people from Big Four. If you are from a good experience, good CA firm, I'm not saying good as in about CA firm, I'm just saying with a good experience, good exposure, they are very happy to give you visa and to get you onshore. Again, Shontel, to our very first conversation, a CV will give your interview before you give your interview. By your CV, the hiring manager, they will judge you in terms of the job you can do and how well you can be, included in the environment of company. And
Okay,
the second part was, if you are a non-CA, maybe you are a banker, or there can be other fields as well. So what I have learned is, earlier only big fours were giving sponsorship, or maybe top six were giving sponsorship. These days, fund accounting, like there are very big funds, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, and like there are a lot of funds and a lot of asset management companies, to be very precise. So these asset management companies are also actively looking for people who can fill in a lot of opportunities.
okay. Would you want to give us some names of asset management companies which come to your mind?
JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Citco, BlackRock, Prisma, Pamco, 3i. There is a very long
There's a
list.
long list. There's a long list. Okay,
Yes.
so what if I'm not a fund auditor? What other profile can give me mobility? Like, what other? So, for example, right now in Australia, which profiles they're hiring expats for? Like, if you could highlight that.
If you are not a financial auditor and you work in other auditing industries, like corporate audits or maybe FMCG audit, those are also very high booming fields these days. Not even in Australia, I've seen in UK as well, a lot of people who are auditors but not from financial backgrounds, they are also holding a very high chance of getting an opportunity. And
Okay.
if you want to know about the fields other than audit, like remove auditing from this interview, if you want to hear something else, there is a new word, how to say, sustainability is one of the if I was 21 today, I would never have done chartered accountancy, or if I would have done chartered accountancy, I would have done my course in sustainability as well. Sustainability is one of the very upcoming, very promising, and very, demanding job, or maybe demanding sector in the entire world. ESG, every country, every big four, every top 10 CA firms, they are hiring like anything in ESG, in sustainability, because it is a very hot topic these days. Thinking about our mother earth, thinking about, everything that is natural, and carbon emissions and a lot of things. So sustainability or ESG is one of the things I wish I could work for, but again, I don't have the experience.
Wow, that's a great point. So, if you're okay to highlight, and I understand you're into a totally different field. Why do finance professionals play an important role in sustainability and ESG? Why are they hiring, say, a CA or an ACCA?
First of all, not you as being a finance person only, you need to have the degree for sustainability or the diploma for sustainability as well. Um, Again, that's what I said. Sustainability is a very hot topic that is related to, everything that is natural going around the world. And I'm just saying two words. It has a, ton big of dictionary with it, and there are a lot of terms. There are a lot of, sides to it. Probably I'm not the very correct person to explain this, because I myself am learning.
Okay.
Maybe in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, I will work for sustainability, but not today, Chantel, not today.
Okay, done. So what you're trying to say is that all of those who are trying to figure out what next, how to really, without even a CA degree, okay, you can get into ESG, sustainability. There's a lot of opportunities there.
Correct,
It's
correct,
an
correct.
undiscovered, or people are just trying to figure it out. So there's no expert in it. You can go in and become an expert. Okay,
Yes,
okay. So
Chantal,
okay,
very correct.
okay. So there's a question which says, like, from Sonam says, I'm a semi-qualified CA. I want to work overseas, but I have no idea what to do about that. Kindly guide me through any qualification
Um,
course.
when I was small, I always wanted to study outside India. I even applied for some of the universities in Poland, in UK, but I'm very happy I never got a chance to study outside India. But again, coming to her question, can I pursue an international course if you will suggest me? See, you need to understand what you like. Maybe I can say go and learn about being an HR. It won't be good for you. You need to understand what area interests you, what you like, how you want to be, 5 years down the line. Where do you see yourself? I know it is a very rubbish question. I don't follow this question 5 years down the line. But again, you have to understand that I don't want to do something that will make me unhappy later in my life. So
True.
she has to probably understand what she likes. But if she wants to have a course in specifically in finance, then maybe she can go and study accounting and finance, or things related to that, if she's into that.
Okay, fair enough. True, because there's no background, so it's very difficult for you to understand what she would be interested in. Okay,
Correct.
or if not anything else, sustainability and ESG. Right? That's
If
that.
if if she if she goes for it, I'm not giving guarantee, but I'm very sure, because I've seen people, Chantel, sustainability or ESG, sustainability, ESG, however you want to say, is very, upcoming topic that is very young. The topic is very young, but it has a potential of 100-year-old man, or knowledge of 100-year-old man, or maybe, the experience of 100-year-old man. That's what ESG and sustainability is.
Yep, yep, true. So Naman has this question. He says, "What is a job hunt in London and Australia?" And I guess you've covered that. And Harmol also asked the same question. I'm working with PwC Global in the financial services and want to move to the UK. So, what is the best job search strategy? I guess you've
Um,
covered this, but would you want
yes.
to add? Yeah.
Sure, sure. First, hi Harmol. You can probably check internally. Internal movement is the securest one, because you already know where you are going to. The job you are landing in, or the people you will be working with. You already know them, so it will be an easy transition. But if an internal movement is not possible, or you don't find one, the very simple and the only way, Shontel, I feel, is just open the career website page of any big four, top six, or any company you want to target. Open their, the open the link, apply on that link, put in your CV. Do remember, if you have any references always, I don't like them doesn't mean that they are not good. Reference is one of the securest way to find a job easily and quickly. Do get some references. And one again, Shontel, the same dialogue would come in. World has opened doors for world today. If you want, you can directly reach out to people on LinkedIn, HRs, or like whosoever you find suitable. You can directly reach out to them. Write a nice message. Don't write, don't just say hey, hello, nice to connect with you, and then wait for them to respond, because no one is going to respond you back until and unless you have something for them in the plate. So maybe write a nice message with the exact content what you want from them to do. If you want them to give you a reference, just ask that plainly, and with a very normal English, just say that hey, hello, I'm looking for this, could you help? If you want them to refer you directly, ask them, because until and unless you won't ask, you won't know, and there is no money you are spending in asking someone.
Okay. So you went directly to the company websites and also on LinkedIn, right? Also on LinkedIn,
Correct.
you used all the filters and you applied on LinkedIn job posts too.
Correct. Shontel, I also want to add one more point. Yeah, you are very correct that I have nothing. I only did two things. First, apply on company website, or maybe these days you get the links on LinkedIn as well. You don't need to search on Google. If you go to LinkedIn and probably you write EY Sydney, you will get all the listings, job listings, and you can apply from them. If not, the next best possible way that has always worked for me for every location I've been to is directly connecting with people already working in the organization at a higher level. But
Okay.
Sean, I wanted to add a point was, whenever you are selected for an interview, you get an email that ABC person will interview you during the interview. Please go to LinkedIn. This is for the viewers, because I have heard from a lot of people that we got an interview, but they didn't like the, maybe they didn't understood our English, our accent, or the things we wanted to convey. Please go to LinkedIn. Please open the person's LinkedIn. Try to understand from which location. If you are interviewing in UK and your interview is from Scotland, there is a high chance you will face a little bit of difficulty understanding the accent. So this is, and probably if someone, the person who is interviewing you has studied from, top 10 universities, and have done multiple locations and geographies and those kind of things. So you need to understand where a person comes from, what all companies that person has worked in, what his portfolio says. A very niche example, if you see that the person who's going to interview you is from Brazil, I don't know why this thought came in right now, but just an example. If you see that, oh, this person is going to interview me and he or she is from Brazil, just go on the Google and learn how to say good morning and good evening in Brazil. That's bon dia and boa tarde. Just
Okay.
if you'll say bon dia to someone who's from Brazil, they'll be like, oh my god, they have already impressed that person
Yeah.
before even starting the interview.
Yep, that's a great point. That's a great point. Okay, so very simple. Go to the websites, go to LinkedIn, use the filters, tweak your CV properly as per the JD. It's as simple as that. And of course, you have to prep for the interview and everything. But the fact that you're carrying, experience with you and you're applying for the relevant profile, there's not much prep that you'll have to do, right? You anyways know the technical aspects.
I don't think so, Sean. There'll be any prep. Prep can be
Okay.
prep can be only in terms of what you need to ask. In the end, everyone will be like, "Do you want to ask a question? You should have some questions." If someone says, "Can you tell me about yourself?" Like there are two answers for this: either read your entire CV in front of them, or either say that everything is already mentioned in my CV, I want to tell you something about my person. Whatever ways, you can only practice about them, you can never practice about your technical concepts or anything.
Okay, okay. So, Krish, I've got two questions for you. Okay, first one is, what is the pros and cons? Okay, like what will you experience outside of work that you feel shit, I want to get back? This is not making sense. Okay, what will be the pros and cons? Okay, and the next one is, is there actually right now a lot of hiring happening? Because we here get, so many there's so many auditors opportunity for expats. There's so much of this, so much of that. Is there really hiring happening in say UK, in Australia? Is it the right time, to apply? So over to you.
Correct. Can I take your first point later on the
Yep.
second?
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
yes. Chantel, to be very true and to be very frank, USA, UK, Australia, Gulf countries, and Bermuda Island, Luxembourg, Cayman Island. These are the very few locations I am telling you about that has ample of opportunities. Person will, if I search on my Google right now, I can show you more than 1,000 opportunities in all this like combine all in all these locations. So there are impulse of hiring being there. There are a lot of opportunities in the market. The only problem with us is we don't look for those opportunities in correct way. So, and please, I'm also in those people who don't look for the opportunities in correct way. So I don't have any answer what is the correct way. So maybe being a little bit smart, talking to a lot of people, making new connections, and connections or links are the only thing that's gonna help you in your professional life. If you are applying for a job, if you are in a new place, new country, new office. So yes, being a little bit smart and seeing all the opportunities that are there, searching on company websites on LinkedIn, and these are very simple. Like you don't need to go to any, I don't know, like you don't need to go to anyone. Just search on company websites, talk to people. There are a lot of people like you who are working in the reputed industry by helping people to get the desired opportunity. That's very simple, and there is no, there is no hiccups in this. If, for example, Chantel, I want to apply for a new opportunity right now, first thing, go to Google company website. Second, go to LinkedIn. Third, connect with people like you who are in this industry, to help others. And this is as simple as that. It is not complicated. And
Okay.
complicate now, let's speak about complications. Complications comes when you reach to a desired country. Because Chantel, I feel if you are the person who is helping someone to get an opportunity, you and that person would be, connected during the opportunity, during the application, and maybe after 1 month he has come or she has come to that country, or whatever country you decided. And maybe for 1 month you guys will stay in connection, then you have your own life, that person has their own life. So the problem or the complications or the cons of going outside is bigger than the than the opportunities or the money a person thinks, or a peace person thinks, or a living of standard. Going outside your country is not an easy task, is can be very challenging, daunting, demanding, and you will have to do a lot of things that you have never done in your life. It can be summed up to, and I'm not ashamed of even saying this, it can be summed up to cooking, to cleaning your toilets, to doing your everyday chores, to walking to your office, not taking a cab. In India, it's very easy. I was working in Gurgaon. I live in Delhi. 500 rupee note for a cab. That's very easy. I don't even think second time on that. But getting a cab in UK or in Australia, you will think like million times. So you need to be very careful. Where are you spending your money? You cannot get house helps easily because you won't be getting that salary to support yourself. You need to cook every other day. If you're like we, Chantal, have been raised to cook every day and to eat fresh food every day. By that I don't mean outside people don't eat fresh food. I'm just saying that
Yep.
we are not brought up to eat frozen fruit,
Frozen. Yeah.
just going to a shop and buying a frozen pizza and
Yep.
warming it up and eating. We are never raised to do that. I i tried doing that. I tried eating pizzas for 5 days. It was very cost effective, but I know how bad it was for me and my stomach. There came a day that I was very sick. So we are not raised like that. So we need to cook at least every other day, if not every day. We have to take out time from office to, take flat on rent, to understand how to get a car, how from where to get groceries, how to, how to enjoy ourselves as well. Like it will be very bad and boring if you come out. For example, if you come to Australia, you come to Sydney and you stay in your home, you go office and stay in your home. That's There is no use of doing that.
Yep.
Stay,
Absolutely. Because,
stay with your parents, stay in your country. And because India these days is also seeing, big amount of salaries given to people.
yep. Yep.
But it's
Absolutely.
coming up, Frontal, if you're, and probably you must be understanding these things better than me, that there the life becomes very challenging if you are not ready for your why. There will,
Yep.
I, Chantal, in my personal experience in UK, I've seen a lot of people coming to UK and then crying till 2 a.m. in the morning, and spoiling my sleep and their sleep as well. But yeah, crying very badly. And like it it takes a great toll on your mind as well if you're not ready for those challenges. I've seen a lot of people crying and they being in a very bad condition. It is not a good sight to see, and surely not a good sight to be in. And then they going back to India, and probably it's a very bad thing. So everyone should be very clear. Again, the life will be amazing. You will you meet new people, you will see landscapes that you have never seen in your life. You will grow in your career trajectory. You will become someone big and famous and a lot of things. But again, it demands a lot of patience, a lot of sacrifices, and you need to understand that you cannot there can be no day where you wake up from the bed and say, oh, I'm missing my parents, I want to go back home. No, you cannot do that.
Yep, and you're absolutely right. In India, the salaries, the career growth is terrific. After 1.5 years, you move to another role, you're getting a 30% hike, right? Because there's a demand, there's so much of work is coming to India, and especially in NCR region, it's a
Correct.
lot more than Mumbai, right? The salaries are exorbitant, literally. I know like guys with 5, 6 years of experience already at 35, 40 lakhs, easy, easy.
Correct.
So you should really know your why, because I don't think in these countries you can really get that quick career growth, or you can get a lot of money. It's a lot of expenses too. So
Correct.
yeah,
Correct, Antal. And again, like office money, everything is there. But what about your personal life or the things you are doing in your personal time? You need to
okay.
be very clear about your why, because if there will be a day, obviously you can anytime come back to India, start from beginning. But the problems you will face, they don't fade away easily.
Okay, that's a great point. Okay, so I have this last question on the salary front. A profile like yours. Okay, do they pay a lot more as an auditor? In for the financial services, like for the funds, in comparison to other auditing profiles? Is there the pay package a lot more because there's a demand growing and there's a shortage of guys who understand the work?
Shondel, I'll answer you in a wise manner. um Everyone needs loan, or maybe money, not loan. Everyone needs money. New business, even our mothers, a new venture capital, a new flight industry. If you want to start a cooking classes, if you want to buy a new laptop, everyone needs money. And where is that money coming from if not from banking channels? So that is why there is a huge need for people in that organization, and that is why they are getting more than the other aspects of auditors.
Okay, okay. So this compensation is actually a lot more because we are hiring for a couple of VC funds and everything, and they want a particular kind of candidate, and there are not plenty of them, and those who are there, they're anyways at a high salary. I was so surprised,
Yeah,
like very
there is
good.
obviously because world is moving at a very fast pace. No one is asking you to sacrifice everything and become someone. It is your life and your choice. I can sound very rude saying this, but it is the reality. No one is asking you to sacrifice, come out of your country, or don't even come out of your country. Like, there is, if you want to sacrifice and want to become something, then you have to do that. And you have to always be very clear about your why.
About your why. Cool. So yes, Kush, I mean, you answered every question and a lot more. Means a lot. Great help. Okay, we'll make some amazing articles out of this, amazing videos, so people can read and consume the content as per their needs. Okay, we'll also make an article on exact job strategy, the pros, cons, and about the fund industry, which I've learned so much. And
Sure.
as you said, we can go on forever, but that was some great knowledge, some amazing knowledge. So everyone who has any questions, do let us know. Kush is on LinkedIn. He is more than happy to help whenever he has the time. So yeah, that's about it. Kush, thanks a ton, and thank you everyone for joining in. Thanks a lot.
Chantal, before we end, I really want to thank you that
Thank you.
you are trying to. I'm just saying on the screen whatever I wanted to say. It's actually you, the finance story, and not only you, people like who actually want to help people, and that makes me even happier.
Thank you.
So
That's kind
thank
of
you.
you.
Sure.
That's so kind of you. So yes, Kush, thanks a lot. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for joining in. And we are coming up with a couple of more interviews. We'll update you on the finance story. So yes, Kush, all the best, and thanks a ton. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you,
Thank you.
Chantal. You have a
Thank you. You too. Have a great day. Thank you.